Look, I don't think there's any doubt remaining. I can't imagine that there's any doubt remaining anywhere that Russell Wilson's going to start Sunday night against the Jets. Where I think there's a ton of uncertainty is how this offense is going to operate with him. Good morning to you. Good Thursday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Steelers. It comes your way bright and early every weekday if you're into hockey and or baseball. I also offer daily shots of Penguins and Pirates in the same place that you found this. Russ took the first team reps yesterday, and while that isn't a dead giveaway, and while Mike Tomlin didn't say afterward in a specially requested group interview that Russ is going to be the starter, it doesn't exactly take a detective's level of curiosity to see where this is heading. Or for that matter, why it'd be heading there. The issue that's in front of everybody, aside from the really obvious stuff about the offensive line being as banged up as it is, and the wide receiver core being limited to one and change, is how. When you look at the way Justin Fields ran the offense, even though it's from the same playbook with the same coordinator, there's no one involved in the process, including Fields himself, including Arthur Smith, who would deny that the strategy became, and understandably so, skewed toward Fields' skill set. Now it's got to kind of go back to where it was when it was supposed to be Russ's offense. And that, of course, goes all the way back to early in the summer. And that's where maybe this gets a little bit interesting, because Russ was supposed to preside over a big offense, a big group of players banging people around, making sure that Russ had not just time to move around as he's always had to do behind the line of scrimmage because of his lack of height so that he can see his potential targets, but also so that, they can run and they can do big type things. Now that can work. All of that can work if, I think, this is just me now, if things happen quickly. Remember the silly multiple guys handing the double reverse, whatever the heck that was in Las Vegas? Okay, not that. All right? None of that. Whatever is going to get done has to get done quickly, and it has to get done in as close to 100% manner as possible. Here's what I mean by that. Russ, last season with the Broncos, led the National Football League in passes thrown and completed behind the line of scrimmage. Now, that's not exactly a crown to be wearing. It means he did a whole lot of sideways. And part of the reason people in Denver will tell you that he did all that sideways was that he didn't have much of a line there either. So what the Broncos would do is they would throw sideways. They would attempt to have, screens set up, other blockers sent out there to help on these plays. I don't need to tell you that the Steelers are terrible at this. And they've been terrible at this. Their sideways execution is just, it's usually abysmal, but at times it's even worse, okay? The main reason for that is that they don't have wide receivers who want to block, much less can block. And they didn't before with Deontay Johnson either. So what you would see is somebody would catch the ball out there and they'd look in front of them and there'd be, 3 or 4 opposing jerseys waiting to kill them. This group is different in the sense that Van Jefferson is part of it. Jefferson was brought here after Smith had him in Atlanta last season almost entirely for this reason. He's out there to block. He's out there to complete wide receiver blocking schemes that others, notably George Pickens, don't really want to have much to do with. So to me, I'd rather see quickness. I'd rather see decisiveness. I'd rather see somebody stepping in off the slot or Pat Freiermuth cutting into the middle and just get rid of the football. The one thing that cures all pass rushes, that cures all leakage in your offensive line is getting rid of the football. Think about Ben Roethlisberger's final season in Pittsburgh. My goodness, Ben would get rid of the football before it was snapped. It became so ridiculous. And maybe you do enough of that, you soften them up a little bit, you hand off, you soften them up a little bit more, you play for Najee Harris's preferred 15-round fight, swing pass a little bit to Jaylen Warren, and then, and only then, I believe, will you be able to take any kind of meaningful shots and get the kind of value that Tomlin seems to be hoping to get from Russ. I can't reiterate this often enough or strongly enough. My issue isn't Russ. For those of you who are communicating in this direction about, why do you hate Russ and whatever else, it's not about him. It's about the circumstance. It's about the timing of the circumstance. This seems like a really, really awkward time to be doing this, especially when you had a bye week coming up in a couple of weeks. But hey, as long as you're going to do it, go big. Or you know, how's that go? Go big or go home, right? When we come back, J1Q.
This segment of Daily Shot is brought to you by our good friends at Mike's Beer Bar. They're located on Federal Street, directly across from PNC Park. Mike has more than 500 beers on tap, including from more than 50 local breweries. Stop in and say hello. Tell Mike we sent you. Mike's Beer Bar.
Today's J1Q comes from Tim over in Germany. He asks, DK, do you think we're going to see better offensive play calling since I assume Arthur Smith based his playbook on Russell Wilson's style? I don't know. I don't know is the fairest and most accurate answer I can give because we haven't seen it. We really haven't. The Steelers did do some interesting things in the summertime on casual grass in Latrobe and on the south side that made you think, wow, this could be a really interesting offense. And then Russ got hurt, and then you didn't really see him again. And then all of the evaluations from there of the Smith playbook come in real games. So that's the best way to look at this at the moment is nobody would know. Nobody would know. Smith doesn't know. But I will say that I don't believe for a second that Smith wouldn't be at least largely influential when it came to this switch. In other words, let's say, the coaches meet after the game in Las Vegas, fly back, everybody gets together, office around a big table, and Tomlin says, what do we think about going to Russ? What do we think? Well, every head in that room is going to swivel in Smith's direction, because he's the one that's going to be able to give you the most informed answer based on all of his film study, based on all of his expectations of how his plays should be executed and what's missing from that execution. And if Smith says, wow, coach, hey, man, respectfully, not now. I'm not feeling this. I don't think there's, with all these O-line guys out and the Jets are going to blitz us like crazy and they're pretty good defensively and no thanks, coach. Let's just wait till the bye week. I can't envision that. I can't envision that playing out like that. Smith absolutely had to be a voice in favor. And from having spoken with Smith myself, I know that his main point of frustration, not with Fields, but with the offense in general, to date has been first down, has been that they've been stuck, the Steelers have, in a lot of 2nd and 9s and 3rd and 8s. And if he sees plays that are being missed, he's going to see things that quite literally none of us can. Now, does that make him right in that scenario? I don't know. Is this going to make Tomlin right? I don't know. And I'm pretty sure that within this general answer that I've given you, I've said I don't know about 10 times, and that's my problem here. It's not Russ. It's not I love Fields and I'm going to bat for him or any nonsense like that. It's just that this is a whole lot of I don't know to introduce to a team that's 4-2, tied for first place, 3-1 in the AFC, facing a couple of opponents, and then having a bye week after that. No. Whatever. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers. We're going to be back with another one of these tomorrow.